Murder in the morning from the Hidden Killers podcast.
There's a documentary out right now called Taking Care of Maya. It's on Netflix. Highly worth watching. This trial is taking place right now. It's the family of Maya going after the hospital in which Maya was being treated for just gross negligence and the system that really destroyed their lives, that they went to and asked them for help as their daughter was very sick. In the end, Maya's mother ended up taking her own life based on the allegations and the stress that the system and the hospital were putting on her, making accusations against the parents and specifically the mom of child abuse, which was really the furthest from reality. But once they got their mind set that this is what's happening, good luck turning them around, even with all the evidence that shows that they are wrong. If sometimes these systems get moving in one direction, they keep moving in that direction. Sometimes it's impossible to get a system to even move at all. But once it gets going, right or wrong, it's going.
Yep.
It all started in Florida with the Kowalski family leading a seemingly normal life, strong Polish roots and deep familial bonds. The Kowalskis were pillars of their community, and in 2016, they found themselves ensnared in a whirlwind of medical and legal battles that would change the very core of their unity and resilience. Maya Kowalski, spirited 9-year-old with a penchant for painting and playing the violin, began experiencing debilitating symptoms ranging from agonizing headaches to painful lesions on her limbs, arms, and alarm bells rang. No parent is prepared to see their child suffer. Jack and Beata Kowalski were no exception. Desperate for answers, they navigated the complex web of healthcare, which is just, complex is putting it nicely, consulting numerous physicians and specialists, trying to figure out what's going on with their daughter. It was Beata, the registered nurse with an astute sense of observation, who stumbled upon the possibility of complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS, while researching her daughter's symptoms. This rare disorder, characterized by chronic pain and often triggered by an injury, was later confirmed by Dr. Anthony Kirkpatrick, a renowned specialist in the field. Seeking relief from Maya, the family even embarked on a perilous journey to Mexico to pursue an experimental treatment called the ketamine coma, hoping it would offer their daughter some respite. Their endeavors seemed successful. Maya returned to a renewed life full of zest and excitement, and it was all good. And then it was a calm before the storm. Quite literally, during a hurricane, she relapsed. Less than a year after their return, a severe bout of stomach pain led Maya to be admitted to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. What could possibly go wrong there, right? You know, you think you got your kid at a wonderful hospital. Armed with her medical history, her parents insisted on high doses of ketamine to manage Maya's pain, an approach that was supported by her doctor, Dr. Kirkpatrick. However, the admission set off a cascade of events that no one would have foreseen. The hospital staff, rather than viewing the Kowalskis as concerned parents, eyed them with suspicion immediately. The narrative shifted dramatically, and Beata was accused of Munchausen by proxy, a condition where caregivers feign or induce illness in those they care for, seeking attention or sympathy. With accusations flying, Maya was placed in state custody, barred from seeing her family. Which is,
wow.
I mean, can you imagine you have a 9-year-old who's in pain, suffering, fighting for her life because she doesn't know what's going on.
Yep.
And now guess what? Because we're going to make a couple really strong assumptions here without any sort of evidence, and we don't want to be wrong. We're going to take your daughter from you, and we can do that. And they did.
So not only are we going to isolate this poor child who is dealing with something physically horrific, we are going to traumatize her brain as well.
Yeah.
And make her miss her parents. I had my tonsils out when I was 6 years old. And I remember when my mom had to leave because it was visiting hours were over, I was devastated. It's like, I want my mom. Can you imagine this poor girl?
Yeah.
She didn't have her family for how long? 70, 80 days?
It was insane. The trauma was immeasurable. Beata, painted as a villain by the hospital, faced public scrutiny and emotional and psychological torment, stripped of her maternal rights and bearing the weight of false accusations. She faced a battle on all fronts, the fight to prove her innocence and yearning to reunite with her child, and the trauma of public defamation. Tragically, the weight became too much for Beata, and she took her own life, believing that her sacrifice might expedite Maya's return to her family. The aftermath of the tragedy saw the Kowalski family fight gaining momentum with the formidable Gregory Anderson and Anderson Glenn LLP by their side. They embarked on a mission to clear their name and bring the hospital to account. An ensuing legal battle is going on literally right now, revealing a lot of unsettling patterns. Specifically, Dr. Sally Smith, a senior child services physician, often at the center of numerous controversial child removal cases. This seems like someone who likes to just fuck with families. The documentary shedding light on the Kowalskis' ordeal further bolstered their cause, unveiling other similar cases, indicating systematic flaws. And if you watch this doc, I am halfway through it right now, because we're going to be talking about this a lot next week with some of our guests. These people, Dr. Sally Smith and some of the others that we watched their depositions in this, you can tell they have dug in so deep, and you can tell that they know they're wrong with what they did, but they're not going to back out. They're just going to keep going and be very flippant and be very just, yeah, that's what we did. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that's what you got to ask them. Just listen, you fucking bitch. You know what you did here. You know you fucked up. Just fucking pull your ego down a little bit and do the right thing. But they're so, it felt like I was watching Karens for a little while with a lot of control of people's lives, which was scary as shit.
What evidence did they have to accuse the family of abuse in this case? She had lesions and she had chronic pain and things like that, but did they have any evidence? Did the child say, yeah, my parents are beating the shit out of me?
No.
I'm assuming she didn't.
No, essentially what it came down to is the medical staff had no clue what this disorder was, CRPS. So as oftentimes goes with people when you don't understand what's going on, it doesn't exist. But eventually, I believe they did learn more about it, but they didn't know what it was. The mother was trying to explain. You can hear the audio tapes of her she recorded everything, of her trying to explain to the hospital why she needs this, what this diagnosis means, because the hospital just wanted to, kind of treat her like anybody else that came in the door. But,
get her in and get her out, I imagine.
Yeah, and that's not usually the best thing when you have a specialized diagnosis here that she is dealing with, has been diagnosed, has a doctor on board with all of this, but the hospital didn't want to hear it. They wanted to do things their way, and they were very concerned that the parents seemed to know so much about their daughter's condition and were being very demanding on what sort of treatment that she should get. They're being demanding because they know what she needed, and they know what was working for their daughter. And it was all legal. But because they didn't get that, and then, some of these Karens didn't quite get it either, then it was, they're abusing their child. Let's step in and be, this superhero to the rescue. And I'm going to fix this and fix that. And at the end of the day, it's like, no, you look like a bunch of fools, which is now why there's a $200 million lawsuit against the hospital from the family.
I don't understand. I've known some amazing doctors and I've known some amazingly horrific doctors. Mm-hmm. The doctors that are the amazing ones are the ones who look at you and go, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. And I think where it comes in, where the brilliance comes in, is where they step back and say, I've never seen this before, but I'm seeing it now, and we're going to try to figure it out. Versus the other ones who will throw medication after medication at you saying, well, it's stress related, it's this, or it can't be that. because I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Our medical system is amazing and horrible at exactly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so frustrating because we could be just the best in the world. And yet we hear cases like this. And there are amazing doctors and nurses out there, people who are just fabulous in their field, and they will bend over backwards to try to help people. And then we hear cases like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just breaks my heart because we rely on these people. We go to them in emergencies when we're having pain, when we're not well, when our families aren't well. And we want them to do the right thing. And we put our lives on the line with them. And this should not be allowed to go on. This can't be the first time that they've fucked around with a family like this.
No, I mean, it certainly sounds like there's a lot of investigation going on here with Sally Smith and other individuals within their control. But it looks like, there's been a lot of years where these people just really overstepped and, just zealously acted like fools. And then, raised their hand going, look, I saved this child from this family. And like, no, moron, you didn't. You actually ruined their lives.
Just horrible. And horrible what happened to this family.
Yeah. Without a doubt. We'll keep watching this. There will be a lot of conversations about it as the trial actually continues. We'll let you know how that ends up, and we'll probably bring you the verdict and audio of that once it all comes down to the next couple of weeks. Just press subscribe and you'll hear it right here.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.